County Wicklow. Now, Bray was another place that if my father never saw it again, he'd think it too soon. In the way that we all get wrapped up in ourselves from an early age, I never taxed him too closely about his early years. His steady climb from grocer's assistant to his quantum leap to work in the select emporium of Leverett and Fry, Grafton Street, Dublin, where he met and courted Rose Byrne, who was working upstairs on the books. Would that I could tell you more of the courtship, engagement, and eventual marriage of Michael and Rose, but I never probed. Michael Wogan was well into his 30s, and a good 10 years older than Rose Byrne when they married, with George, a friend of his, as best man, and Auntie May, my mother's favourite sister, as bridesmaid. It was a quietly cheerful family affair, with the reception held in Granny Byrne's front parlour on Clonliffe Road, Drumcondra, Dublin. Rose Byrne was born to Frank and Muds Byrne, the third of 5 daughters, in an army barracks in Belfast. The bold Frank was a sergeant, possibly a sergeant major, in the British Army. I can't have been more than 3 when he died. Muds lived longer, long enough to see me married, if she'd been strong enough to come to the wedding. After the wedding, we stopped at Clonliffe Road to see her. She was weak, spent and frail, but she sat up, held our hands, and smiled. Nobody has ever smiled like Muds, except perhaps my daughter. It was a smile that lit up Drumcondra. I've been very lucky. I've been surrounded by kind, gentle, good-humoured women all my life. Muds, short for mother, was possessed of such a gentle, beautiful soul that you couldn't but love her. And her 5 daughters did, deeply, abidingly. Maybe it's because of the loving kindness with which she surrounded them that only 2 of the Byrne sisters ever got married, my mother and her younger sister, Dinah. What names! Nellie, May, Rose, Kitty, and Dinah. And not forgetting Auntie Maggie. She was Muds's elder sister, a formidable maiden lady. She was a career woman, a French polisher. And like my auntie's names, there are not many of them left these days. As a matter of fact, Auntie Kitty followed Great-Aunt Mag into the French polishing and became a dab hand. Auntie Dinah followed my mother into the cash books of Leverett and Fry. Auntie May, my godmother, worked in Veritas, the Catholic Truth Society bookshop. Censorship was the Roman Catholic order of the day, and Auntie May was part of the vetting procedure. As I grew into adolescence, many's the racy novel I discovered after rigorous searching in Auntie May's bedroom. And if I owe my literacy to anybody, apart from the sainted Michael and Rose, I owe it to Auntie May. Throughout my childhood and early adolescence, she kept me supplied with books, comics, and magazines that opened a new, different, and wider world for a boy living in a parochial, narrow-minded town in the southwest of Ireland. Her parcels would arrive every Friday without fail: Beano, Dandy, Wizard and Champion, film and radio fun, and later on, the miracle of shiny colour that was the Eagle. Every couple of weeks, a new book, progressing from Dr. Dolittle to Wind in the Willows, on to Just William and Billy Bunter, to Bulldog Drummond and the 39 Steps. I spent almost as much of my childhood in Muds's house in Dublin as I did at home in Limerick. Summer holidays in Irish schools were always 3 months long, with almost a month at Christmas and a couple of weeks at Easter. Oft my mother and I would pop on the train up to the big city, leaving the tireless, dutiful Michael to labour alone. I loved those visits. Well, who wouldn't? For 6 years, until, against all expectations, my brother Brian turned up, I had the individual attention and affection of a granny, 3 maiden aunts, and a mother. I've left out Great-Aunt Maggie and Auntie Nellie, because I never felt that their admiration for me was quite as unstinting as the others. A life for a little chap. More comics, magazines, and books than even Mr. Voracious could read, and the pictures, at least once a week. Afterwards it was Cafola's Cafe, for a Knickerbocker glory, a huge ice cream soda with every known variety of tinned fruit and syrup, topped with cream, eaten with a long spoon. And it had jelly in it as well. And the granny, dear old Muds, was a good cook. For some reason, and of course you couldn't tell from looking at me, food has always been important to me. A racing snake is the most frequent comparison made by the thinking listener. I am quick to demur. I will point to a millimetre, perhaps, of superfluous subcutaneous at belt level. I love my food, the savour, the flavour. I don't know why. Rosie Wogan, burn that was Ireland's worst cook. I never saw a mushroom until I was 17. All meat was cooked to the consistency of an old boot, and the only egg she ever really mastered was a fried one. Strangely enough, she could do tripe and onions. Luckily, we only got that when Uncle Charlie Foster, no relation, just a commercial traveller befriended by my father, arrived for tea. Uncle Charlie was from Dublin, tall, florid, handsome, ebullient, full of charm. My mother would dole out the tripe and onions, and Uncle Charlie Foster would exclaim, "Ah, lovely grub!" Only now, I wonder what sort of a cook his wife was. Michael, the da, never complained, mind you. Rose could never do any wrong in his eyes anyway. She was his life, his light, his lodestar. In any relationship, there's always a lover and a loved. He was the lover, tactile, sentimental, gentle, caring, and not a bad cook. I wish he'd done more of that when I was a child. Later in life, when my mother's arthritis became very bad and her hands were more useless, the da would do the cooking. But no less than my mother, he was a man of fixed culinary ambitions. For tea, he liked toast, buttered, and topped with tomato and cheese. "The loveliest meal you ever ate," was how Michael described it. The granny could cook a bit, though. I mind well the wondrously succulent fresh mackerel caught that very day off Howth Pier by the da, when he would join us in Dublin for his 2-week summer holiday. He loved fishing. He liked to watch Limerick Football Club as well, and go to the dogs on a Wednesday night, but fishing was his passion. We didn't have a car in Limerick, just the da's bike. And up on the crossbar would pop little Michael Terence on a Sunday after Mass, and off we'd go a-fishing, just the da and I, with a flask and some Limerick ham sandwiches. Those days by the river bank are misty memories now, but I saw the curlew and I heard the corncrake, something my children never have. I never took to fishing myself, a boy rebelling against his father. Not me. I never rebelled against anything in me life. Conventional, bourgeois, middle class. That's me. How I ever stumbled into the racy world of radio, television and showbiz is a mystery. If you come this far, it won't have escaped your notice I'm not a great man for detail. As is the fashion nowadays, I blame my father. He was so hard-working, diligent and meticulous that his elder son's subconscious must have taken flight. When I tell people I've never done a hard day's work in my life, they assume I'm joking. But what I have done for nearly 40 years has not been work. It's not a proper job. Even my 4 years spent in the employ of the Royal Bank of Ireland didn't seem like work. Work? Work's toiling down a mine, digging up a road. That's work. Maybe it's the Jesuit training, but I've always felt the shadow of guilt, how easily things have come to me. I played games without too much effort, and even less training. Apart from maths, schoolwork came easily. A pretty undistinguished scholar, unless driven to it. I only excelled at Latin because the teacher frightened me to death. So, without knowing too much of the details, Michael Terence Wogan was born to Rose and Michael Wogan in Mother Cleary's nursing home, Elm Park, Limerick, on the 3rd of August, 1938. It was a dark and stormy night. Or maybe it was the morning. I never asked. My mother used to make great play of the thunder and lightning that lit up Limerick upon my birth. But if Apollo was trying to tell me something, it's never been made clear. Born in the town of Limerick, then Ireland's 3rd biggest town. Not a city, no cathedral, you see, but more churches than Nashville, Tennessee. But unlike Nashville, Tennessee, all of the same denomination, Roman Catholic. Limerick was more Roman Catholic than the Vatican. Not a lot of Christianity, if by that you mean love and tolerance of your fellow man, but plenty of religion. The da wasn't exactly big on religion, and neither was my mother. I think she'd too much of a sense of humour for it. Oh, they went to Mass, ate fish on Fridays, kept the Lenten regulations, made sure their 2 sons had a good Catholic education and kept the faith. But I never felt, at least in retrospect, that their hearts and souls were entirely in it. Maybe I'm trying to make my own agnosticism easier to understand. In his great Pulitzer Prize